Have you seen right now the right is really mad at Hillary Clinton because she said Trump supporters need to deprogramming? Dude, I'm mad at Hillary Clinton for saying that. Can she shut the fuck up, please? Can Hillary Clinton please shut up and stop? Nobody likes her. Nobody likes her. I already had this pulled up. Is she wrong? She should shut up. It doesn't matter if she's right or not. Go away. Nobody likes her.
So, Steve, you just mentioned the re-election. There is, of course, a presidential election playing out. And the woman who was defeated by former President Donald Trump in 2016 is speaking out today. But before we get to what she just said, let's go into the Wayback Machine.
Just play the clip.
And we have to defeat him. And we but something needs to happen.
And how do you do that?
At this point, I think, sadly, he will still likely be the nominee, and we have to defeat him. And we have to defeat those who are the election deniers, as we did in 2020 and 2022. And we have to, just be smarter about how we are trying to empower the right people inside the Republican Party.
Well, the thing is, and you
No, play the part of the clip you guys are getting mad over. Was that earlier? Did I skip that part? Oh, I did. Whatever.
programming. Yeah. Watch this.
So many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists, take their...
I'm legit confused as shit. No. First of all, listen, okay? Politics is largely about optics, obviously. If you're the most unlikable bitch in the universe, you shouldn't say shit, okay? Hillary Clinton should just not talk, all right? She was like one of the only candidates who could have lost to Donald Trump, all right? Seriously. Like, she was not defeated by some giant wave of far-right, like, popularity or whatever. Donald Trump didn't get more votes than he was expected to. Hillary Clinton got less, all right? So she should shut up. Second of all, she already has a reputation as some kind of, like, conniving spider queen who wants to, like, control the entire country and brainwash everyone. She already, like, gives the image of, like, an ultra-deep state crone in the way that Biden doesn't. Biden doesn't give that image at all. Biden has been in politics basically since like the Stone Age. And despite that, because he's this like bumbling old grandpa, it's really difficult to think of him as conniving, whereas it's incredibly easy to think of Hillary Clinton as conniving. Yeah, she's an optics nuke.
Marching orders from Donald Trump, who has no credibility left by any measure. He's only in it for himself. He's now defending himself in civil actions and criminal actions. And when do they break with him? Because at some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members, but something needs to happen.
And
why would you say that? Why would you, if you're already like optics poison, you're barely integrated aesthetically into the Biden White House because the Biden, like the Biden administration is aware of the fact that you're poison and doesn't want to touch you. And then like, what thing could you say to like fully reinforce the narrative that you're some kind of deep state crone? Formal deprogramming. Guys, she's not right on this. What does she mean, formal deprogramming? Do you seriously think the way out of this is having some kind of federal program where conservatives go in and watch like Agent Orange style a bunch of clips of Donald Trump lying to like no. It's a ludicrous thing to say. All right, well, chat's going to agree facetiously because it's memetically. Yeah, okay, well, whatever. No, obviously not. People right now, like conservatives, are indeed lunatics, but the way out of this is not just... Like this is the worst possible direction to go. This is the worst thing to say. It's the worst like impression to give. I genuinely, I can't believe it. Like, can you imagine, imagine how we would interpret it if Donald Trump had said something like this, like all these people who believe in woke ideology and he says there needs to be a formal deprogramming. How would you interpret that if he had said something like that? Like, in what way would you, given that you have a negative impression of what he has to say and you are not charitably disposed towards him, would you not interpret that as like a red sirens flashing alarm bell kind of acknowledgement of the desire to build camps and put us away? Come on. Ridiculous. It's incredible to me that she doesn't understand how bad this comes off. Yeah, it validates the claims of the crazies on the right. It is completely ineffectual. It does nothing to move people over to the left. Instead, it gives people reasons to believe they need to move over to the right. Like, for anyone who thinks it's sexist, even Kamala does better. It's not a sexist. First of all, Hillary Clinton is just really not popular. Like, obviously, a lot of that has to do with sexism, but let's be real here. A lot of it is just she's a very unlikable person. Like, come on. For two, nobody should say this. Biden shouldn't say it. Kamala Harris shouldn't say it. But Hillary Clinton especially shouldn't say it. Like, double especially she. Why do the Democrats still have her around? Well, they can't off her. I mean, she's not really a part of the Biden White House, you know? Like, the Biden administration has reasonably not incorporated her into their messaging or their administration, which is good of them. But she still exists. I mean, she can still go on talk shows and stuff.
You do that. At this point, I think, sadly, he will still likely be the nominee, and we have
Right,
to
and then we saw from this point forward. Yeah. Okay, Fox and Friends, talk about it.
And we know about the ABC Washington Post poll, which they're embarrassed by, where he's up by 12. He pulled ahead in Pennsylvania, too. And the problem is the best sales tool for Donald Trump is the policies of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And people just go, well, I don't, that guy in the White House is a little volatile, but my life was a lot better when he was in charge.
But do you see the press right there? Do you wonder why?
Oh, they're not going to talk about it? I assume they were going to, like, fearmonger about it.
Would you go about deprogramming half
Yeah.
of the country?
So she
How did that
agrees.
work out for you last time? So Hillary Clinton also said one will wreck our democracy, one violates the law on a regular basis, one appeals to the worst in our country's psyche.
That's true. Okay, the Fox and Friends people are too stupid to even jump on this. Whatever. Yeah, they're not even doing the whole, like, socialist re-education camp shit or whatever. Clinton is not taken seriously enough anymore to be fearmongered. That's true to an extent. That's slightly true. But, I mean, the right will fearmonger off whatever they want to. You know? I think Kamala would say this. Well, I don't like Kamala Harris either. When Charlie Kirk debated the, quote, trans Marxists, he apparently paid them $3K to do it. I will unconditionally debate why communism would be better for America without taking a single dime and entirely on Kirk's terms, location, time rules, etc. Kirk v. Haas now. There's no way that Kirk would ever accept these terms, but it would be incredibly funny. This would be top-tier content right here. This would be phenomenal content. The nice thing about Haas is that he's so loaded up with pseudo-fascist esoteric mysticism that none of his arguments could actually come across as an attack against or in favor of communism. Like, he would start doing his big thing. You know what I'm talking about when I say he would do his thing. And it would just turn into this jumble, this impenetrable Gordian's knot of rhetoric that Charlie Kirk would have to hack through with a machete, except he couldn't because he's completely unprepared for that kind of... Yeah, the Haas special, exactly. That'd be funny. Haas would do a better job than her. Oh, for sure, yeah. What's your opinion on Cuba and its current relation with the U.S.? I mean, Cuba's a dictatorship. It's not as much of a dictatorship as a lot of other dictatorships. Like, there is a real civil society in Cuba. It's not like a total authoritarian nightmare over there. And they've done pretty well for themselves, considering some pretty, like, substantial hampering their position, their embargo, blah, blah. But, like, obviously, any real socialist country would be a true democracy. You can't be a proletarian state if the proletariat don't control the state. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm sort of like, I'm like enthusiastic and optimistic about the future of Cuba as a real, like, positive show for what poorer countries can do to fend for themselves and develop. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's all ups and downs. Cuba's complicated, you know? Explain what U.S. conservatives gained by maintaining the embargo. The votes of conservative Cubans in Florida. Literally, that's it. The only reason people talk about maintaining the embargo is because there are a large number of Cuban expats who live in Florida who fucking hate Cuba. A lot of them are, like, really wealthy Cubans and the descendants thereof who left because of, like, Batista being overthrown by Castro, and they're still mad about that. And a lot of them are just, like, Cubans who have drank the Kool-Aid or whatever. They're like, if you drop the embargo, they would be like, why are you legitimizing this awful regime that took my grandparents' slaves from them, blah, blah. I'm simplifying it a bit, but, like, that is a big part of it. There is a lot of Kool-Aid. What does drink the Kool-Aid mean? I never learned. Isn't it a reference to the Jonestown massacre, where, like, a cult had a bunch of people commit suicide by drinking, like, fruit punch that had poison in it? The Jim Jones cult. How many people? There's like 30 people who died or something. How many people died? Yeah, cyanide-laced punch. How many people died? Oh, 900. Never mind. That's slightly more than 30. My apologies. No wonder they call it a massacre. It wasn't Kool-Aid. Well, I mean, whatever. They called themselves socialists. Everyone calls themselves socialists, you know? Jones proposed revolutionary suicide by way of ingesting a powdered drink mix made from Flavor Aid, later misidentified as Kool-Aid, that was lethally laced with cyanide and other drugs. Well, the group had engaged in many dry runs using unpoisoned drink. What does that mean? How do you dry? The dry run is just having fruit punch. What? How do? What kind of preparation do you need for that? You don't like fuck up your drinking technique like an airplane. You don't want to like splash it on your face or something. He did that and told them it was poison, but it wasn't. Oh, like actually. Oh, like this is not a drill kind of shit. Like, and then they didn't die, and he was like, haha, we're still alive. That's weird. Don't do this, okay? This is weird. Guards armed with guns and crossbows had been ordered to shoot those who fled the Jonestown's pavilion as Jones lobbied for suicide. That's weird. That's not good. And a third of them were minors? This was a rape cult, right? All cults are rape cults. The only reason cults exist is so that like charismatic guys can rape children. That's literally it. Like that is like if you learn about cults, like 9 times out of 10, it's just this guy was decently charismatic and he wanted to rape children, and like that's just how you do that. You know, you just make a cult.